8 tips on virtual real estate investing. How to invest in real estate from anywhere in the world, whether you're on the beach in the Bahamas or in Antarctica, doing whatever you want to do up there. That's the topic of the show today on the Wholesale Daily Show. I'm Dustin.
I'm Corey.
And if you're new to the channel, we'd love to see you subscribe and hit that like button, only if you feel so inclined to do so. But I won't say you won't miss out.
Yep.
All right, so we're going to talk about virtual real estate investing today so that you can not be limited by your geographical location. Maybe you want to invest in the US or in Canada, but you live in Europe or Australia or anywhere in the world.
Yep.
Or maybe you're living in LA and you want to do investing in Georgia. Virtual, if you're going to do that, you're going to have a virtual element of your business. And for us, what makes us fairly well versed in virtual real estate investing is we've been doing it for over a decade. And we buy and sell all over the place, many different states, and most of the time we're running the show from up here in Vancouver, Canada.
Yep.
But last year alone, we did over 60 deals in the US, and so we've learned a lot of tips and tricks along the way that we want to share with you. And we're going to share with you right now 8 tips and tools that we've used and that we still currently use every single day to get good at real estate virtually. Corey, you want to kick off the first one?
Yeah, sure. So let's just zoom in here on the side here. So what we've got here is we have got auction.com and Bid for Assets, as you can see. 2 websites right there, and those websites are used for foreclosure sales. So when counties want to sell or banks want to sell their foreclosure properties, they post them here. And they're websites that you can log on to, open up an account for free, and then bid on properties. Now, usually what happens is you have to pay a deposit down, which you get back if you don't win. But that being said, it's a great place to look for properties. I will warn you that sometimes people bid stuff really high, so you need to do all the due diligence that we talk about in this show, about seeing the property, making sure you find someone to go look at it, and you do proper due diligence, and that will connect with number 5 as we get down there. But for now, know that these 2 websites are great websites for online foreclosure sales, and I would definitely recommend you check them out if you're investing virtually. Yeah,
nice.
Do my best.
Another one that we like to use is the Zillow. Did you do Area Vibes?
That one's down. That's number 3.
Oh, Area Vibes.
Yeah.
So Area Vibes, this website tells us, so say we're looking at property on auction.com or any of these sites that are showing us real estate around the nation. If we're finding deals, we want to go and check on Area Vibes and see where the good and bad parts of town are, so that we're not opposed to buying things in the bad areas, but if we can, we're going to avoid it. Now, that said, if the price is right, like if it's an occupied place where there's a renter in it and we can pick it up for maybe a couple grand or relatively 20-30 cents on the dollar, we're not going to turn it down, but we're actively not going to waste time in there. For example, if we go to the Texas tax sales, there's 7 precincts that the state or that the city's broken into. And we know the precincts with the properties that aren't the highest caliber. So a lot of the times we evaluate all of our properties and then sort out, okay, well, there's 40 properties over here in the good area. And if we go look at some of these ones in the bad area, we're not going to have time to go to the good ones. So we prioritize. Yeah. We're not saying that there's not money to be made there. And if you only have maybe a few $100 or a few $1,000 to get going, then sure, you can put in the elbow grease and make those work. And there's also sometimes diamonds in the rough. So Area Vibes.
Yeah. I guess I'll take number 2 while we're up
Oh,
here.
we skipped 2.
We skipped 2.
Oh, I thought you did 2.
Nah, didn't do 2. So number 2 is Real Auction. So that's a little different than Auction.com and Bid for Assets. Real Auction is actually a site that deals with tax liens and tax deeds online. So Real Auction will link you to county websites that have all those different sales happening. So if you're buying virtually, we've talked a lot about that on the show. So if you're curious about that, you can listen to some previous episodes. But Real Auction does host a lot of the official county tax lien and tax deed sales that happen online. And so you'll notice that a lot of their websites look the same. They have the same interface. They just have different county names. So they kind of sell their platform to each different county. So once you know one of them, basically know all of them. And it's just a matter of learning how to do that initial research in that one county, which can take some time. But then once you do that, then you're good to go in all the counties. And they also usually have practice sites as well. So you can actually legit practice bidding on a tax lien, which you should all be doing if you're getting into that because it's really helpful. So that's realauction.com.
Nice. The other one we look at is the Zillow Market Temp, because we want to look in places that are going to be seller markets, which means there's a lot of buyers out there to come and buy your property. That is really important too if we're going and we're spending, I don't want to say top dollar, but if we're going to say spend more than 50 or 60 grand on a property,
Right.
It's something that we deeply take into consideration. And the flip side of this though is if it's a tax deed property and maybe it's a buyer's market, but if the house is worth 80K and there's a chance we could get it for 10, 20, 30 grand, then in that case we're still gonna really look into it because anybody's gonna buy a property that's worth that much money, even if we're just gonna make 10 grand on it. And that's really the nice thing about tax deeds is you can buy them cheap enough that everybody can make money along the way. So you would buy it and then you could sell it to a fix and flipper and then he will sell it at the top of the market. So that's a neat thing there. The other thing is if you're going to be looking at property on the other side of the country or you don't live in the country, you're going to want fresh pictures. Now start with Google Earth, but that image, it'll say on Google Earth how old that image is. And it could be 6 months old, it could be a year old, and that property could be burnt down, which we've seen many times, or it could be flooded or demoed completely. So that's something that you want to really get fresh eyes on. And there's the website wegolook.com, and I think for like 40 or 50 bucks they'll go and take pictures of it and document it really well for you so that you have fresh pictures.
Yep.
And that's a huge one for virtually buying real estate. Google Suites, Corey.
Yeah, so Google Suites, if you don't know about it, it's kind of like an online cloud-based, meaning it's up in space, system for organizing your data. So if you're the kind of person that likes to write stuff down on pen and paper, that's great. But it won't help you in your virtual real estate business if you have other people on your team. So we use Google Suites and also Asana as an online system and management place for all of our data. So it's pretty cool. We get to log in and all access the same data, and we have spreadsheets that we use, especially for like tax deed sales. Josh is actually downstairs now, just working on an upcoming tax sale that we're going to in Arkansas, and so he is working with one of our employees in the Philippines, RV, and so they talk back and forth, and RV gets the data, puts it in the Google Sheet, and Josh logs in, checks the Google Sheet, tells them we have a whole system already prepped for them to pull that data. So that's great. That would be a nightmare to do through email. Like it just wouldn't even be remotely possible. So if you're not up and up on Google Suites or Asana, definitely recommend checking that out. Maybe someday we can do a chat about like Google Suites and the power of online sort of task management softwares, which that's actually pretty good. I'll write that one down once we're done. But yeah, that's kind of Google Suites and Asana.
Great. And the next one we have here is if you're doing any types of outbound calls, this thing called the Mojo Dialer dials up to 3 numbers at one time. So if you're cold calling for wholesale deals, then that is a really big help. So you can set the Mojo Dialer to the list that you have, and away you go. It doesn't have to be in your own city, and very effective.
Yeah.
And then the last one is for finding people to work and virtual assistants. There's a lot of sites. We've had really good luck on Indeed.com, and it's a much higher caliber person on Indeed. It might cost you a little bit more to find the right person, and to be fair, we've really used this a lot for our main team, like people that are working with us personally, for North American sales associates and customer support people who have English as a first language. One of the things you'll find sometimes with virtual assistants in other countries is they might be really good technically and execution, but they might not have the English skills to be on the phone yet. And you can obviously overcome that with pay, because we have, I think, 4 or 5 virtual team members that are on the phones all day long. But Indeed is a very good place to go and find people there. So yeah, those are some tips we have for you. And we're giving away now our wholesaling contract so that you can see what a wholesale contract looks like. We've paid a lot of money to have our lawyers make this work for us, and we're giving it away. Maybe Corey can flash a picture on the screen. Whoa.
Yeah.
Of it, or of a contract. But if you're new to wholesaling, download it, look it over, and it can help you get started. We're not lawyers and don't use this contract. Take it to a real estate attorney and see what works and what doesn't for where you are. But it's definitely a great starting point. So on the video, there'll be a link to that. Right in the video?
Just shoot us a message in the comments. Next week we'll have a full page.
Okay,
for it, but
so
next week we'll get it up.
Type the word contract in the comments.
Yeah.
We'll send it over. So thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe. Thumbs up. Podcasters, thanks for joining us. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.